Good evening, RPG Limit Break, and welcome to tonight's race between pk4787 and McBain. I am Bakashinobi, and I am joined by Allisele. How are you doing this evening, Allie?
I am doing wonderful. And how about yourself?
I'm doing great. This is a start. We have an Edward start, and our objectives are very Earth-focused, very underground focused as well, because we need to, aside from our static forge this legend sword and the adamant, we need to drop the magma key into the agate well, destroy the super cannon, and launch the falcon. All three of those, well, 2 and 4 are ways underground, as if you get the magma key, you can just open up the hole in the earth and go straight down. Launching the falcon is after you complete the hook path, where you go and fight through Upper Babel through 2 reasonably tough bosses for that stage of the game, and then need to go and get there through that, so this is looking interesting.
Yep, another one of these races that Moon could be absolutely haunted.
Agreed, and we are required to get at least 3 key items, because in order to do Objective 2, we need the magma key. In order to do Objective 3, we need the tower key, and in order to do Objective 4, we need the hook.
Well, and we have to get underground twice, which is kind of rude.
That's I imagine our runners are hoping that we get the magma key first, because if you have to go through that hook route, that could be a really rude fight, because you're maybe low 20s when you get into that fight, and that's a fight where you're expected to be somewhere around mid 20s to early 30s, if I remember correctly.
Now, if you do get that hook and then get the magma key later, you do get some of the best dialogue in the game.
It is, it's well worth our time to go and see that, I agree.
But both these runners, I'm sure, are hoping for a win today. Both have 1 loss. Right now, the consensus is probably no more than 2 losses to move on to the round of 16.
That doesn't sound unreasonable. It's very easy to go and get stuck in a multi-way tie if you're 3-3 and less than 3-3. It's going to be a very brutal fight if you have a shot of advancing. PK has taken 2 wins and 1 loss. His loss was to Penguinator, while McBain has taken 1 win and 1 loss, with his loss going and being to 1 second, I looked this up, Coffee and Chocobos. So both of them have faced some pretty tough opponents and gotten set back slightly, and I imagine both of them were very hungry for that next win. PK would probably be neither of them are going to being a 2-loss record, because they'd be very pressured to win the rest of their races. And PK has that 1 extra win over McBain at the moment, but 1 extra race. And here we are starting.
And with this Eddie, we'll see who is going to join us. It's another Eddie.
I am sure our runners are excited to take a second Edward, and they're getting rid of Edward. Edward the Bard is unfortunately, he's great at using the dancing dagger to deal damage in the overworld, and then when he gets to the late game, he's usually not very good at doing damage. He is a very special character, though, because he has the hide ability, which can be used in a number of unique situations.
But I don't think you need more than 1 of them. They're like white mages. They have diminishing returns.
Agreed. And if you don't have anyone else in your party who can do damage, you are left in a very ugly situation, in my opinion. And we see McBain is going and landing in Baron, while pk4787 is going straight to go and do the objective, speedrunning objective number 2, dropping the magma key in the well to get that out of the way, while McBain discovers that Asuka is professing her untold love. Actually, no, it's very told. She loves Edward, and that's the 3rd Edward we've seen of 3 characters.
I'm sure our runners are a little annoyed to see this many Edwards. Would probably like to see maybe a Tella or a cane, or literally anyone who can do damage.
I mean, if you find enough dancing daggers, you can do damage for, the first 6 fights of the seed.
But dancing daggers are not going to take you through Threemus.
I mean, they could. We got that hide ability. We can go and do some agility manipulation and do some other things. Zerus can go and die to a dancing dagger, kind of-ish. And reflected nukes from that, countering that dancing dagger. But, interesting enough, our runners are deciding, yes, let me get underground and just start checking stuff. Probably not going to be fighting anything, but might be going and checking all the loot down here, because on our T-Pro flags and S-Pro flags, the shops are better underground in gated locations, and the treasure is better in gated locations. And PK is finding a shop that sells dancing daggers along with other items, so might be inclined to pick one up just for some guaranteed early damage.
And we've seen both runners have picked up some nice little stat sticks for Apalum Iridia. I saw a Change Rod on PK's side and a Lilith Rod on McBain's side.
Both of those would be pretty handy. That Lilith Rod I like very much on Tella, because when you use the Lilith Rod as an item, it goes and casts the Psych spell, which will go and steal MP from a different character. Very handy if you're low on ethers and Tella needs to go and get some MP back, and you have party members with MP. And while PK is looting Dwarf Castle, McBain is going to the Path to Feymarch.
And it's going ahead and checking these treasure chests. There is only one trap chest down here, and you have a chance for some pretty good loot. So once you find that chest, you can reset and open everything else without having to worry.
Yeah, and in this trap chest area, the loot is even higher tier, because this is a gated location, and gated locations with trap chests tend to go and have even stronger loot.
And we did see a Gaia hat and a Dragoon shield. If we ever find characters that aren't Edward, those will be nice.
We do have free characters on, so we're going to be able to see a lot of them. That Zeus Ridge, I think, is going to be a pretty handy pickup for McBain, as that's a very solid J item that will cast Lit 2 on all enemies at a fixed power, so throw that out when you're fighting an overworld boss, and yeah, that's going to go and do some good work.
And I believe we did see a temp drop dwarf check from PK. I think it was a pesticide handler?
Well, these dwarves are certainly in pesky business.
I'm not entirely sure. It was pretty quick, so... And we get a bearing key from the free chest in the Feymarch.
Not required for our objectives, but it does open up 2 key item locations, so not a bad find. One of those is going to be much easier than the other, because one of them is to defeat the go and defeat the boss who is on the Baron Throne, where Knizo sits in the vanilla game. Only has about 4,000 HP or so. But the other boss is Odin, who has 18,000 HP and very high attack and magic. Physical attack and magic attack.
And we see 2 potential freebies down in the Feymarch bosses. That was a Yang and some variant of guards.
That can be some degree of tempting. Yang will only be free if we have a Paladin Cecil in our team. And after the second the second kick, we swing with Paladin Cecil, and Yang will say ouch, and the fight is over. If we don't have Paladin Cecil, then we will need to actually go through that fight fairly, which will be significantly more difficult.
And McBain finding curse rings for sale here in the armor shop. After the change to 4.1, they got a lot more expensive than they used to be.
About 3 times as much expensive, if I remember correctly. I believe they were 8,000 gold before, and are now 25,000 gold. Runners will still shell out for them, because they are a very powerful tool. Curse strings will go and give you minus 15 to all stats, and I'm sure some of you are imagining, how could minus 15 to all stats possibly be a powerful tool? That sounds the exact opposite of a powerful tool. And it's because the agility in this game, or the ATB system in this game, does go and work off of your party's agility. You can go and manipulate turns in battle by having what we refer to as your anchor at specific agility values. If they're very low, you end up making the rest of your party much faster. Even if a boss is grossly faster than you, you can be on equal footing.
Agility is a dark art, and I won't hear otherwise.
Look, all I'm going to say is that black mages are great. If agility is black magic, sign me up, because that will mean I'm getting that much closer to learning Nuke.
But McBain is going to go ahead and give us our first look of the characters in Mysidia.
Seeing a Sid walk in is certainly something I'm happy to see. Seeing a Yang, not so much. Of those two characters, Sid joins at level 20 and with some pretty decent stats, while Yang joins at level 10 and needs lots of levels and stats in order to do damage. Unless I'm mistaken, yeah, so Sid is in McBain's party. Sid is probably going to be carrying damage for McBain. I don't remember what McBain has picked up, but I wouldn't be surprised if McBain has a weapon for Sid at this point.
But what about second Sid?
Oh, as PK finding another Sid in the Watery Pass. We do have, these are the free characters we refer to, where without this flag turned on, we would go and need to at least go through fights, and PK is thinking mightily about, do I take this Sid? And decides, yes, we take the Sid. I don't believe PK found the curse rings in shop, and that might be going and pushing some of his decisions at the moment.
But what we really haven't seen so far is damage. Not a lot of damage so far.
Yeah, Sid's going to be able to do some of it overworld, because, as I said, he starts at level 20. That's a pretty decent level. That wooden hammer, it's not the best, but Tella, not another character known for damage, but a character known for going and enabling a lot of other things.
That's it. Seed's free. Pack it up.
It's not free until we get a Darkness Crystal. With Edward on our team, we could, Darkness could be buried at some weird location while we need to go and we can get all of our objectives, get a pass to Threemus, and not really be able to take the biggest advantage of Tella.
This is true. And really right now, haven't seen a lot of characters worth slingshotting with that Tella.
No, and PK finds a free boss in the waterfall. This is not a required location, but PK is checking that because he is looking for the Mist Dragon. If you have the Mist Dragon, or if you defeat the Mist Dragon and go back to the Village of Mist, Rydia's mother will go and have a key item for you, which is very important sometimes.
But that is one more key item, or free boss, sorry, that is out of the pool to find somewhere in a harder location, and does tell PK if he sees a blue robe that it is going to be a much more fun boss.
Oh yes, because we do have to reuse some overworld sprites indicating some bosses, and there are two blue robe bosses, the first being Water Hag, the second being the Alt Gauntlet. A 5 set of random encounters. And
you mean that
PK,
Alt Gauntlet?
Allie, PK's not enjoying the fact that you've decided to go and curse him with all this fun.
But Turtle!
This isn't the fun turtle. This isn't the splashy fun times turtle. This is the, we're not really going anywhere for very fast turtle.
Now, I suspect PK is going to be here for quite a while.
Without a good source of AoE damage, I think you're right, and McBain is finding that there's a forum on Mount Hobbs, guarded by Odin. And McBain is taking them right away.
Palom is a good character, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
But this is Porum, the bad twin.
Sorry, Porum is a good character, and I will fight anyone. Sorry, I have a cat biting me right now.
Okay, well, that's fair. Here's my hot take. After ordeals, Tella is vastly better than Porum, until, like, Porum is 60-something and has enough HP to survive big bangs. Maybe when she gets to 48, she gets a bit better because she can actually do some AoE healing, but she suffers a fair bit from not being Rosa. Where Rosa learns a lot of spells. Well, she doesn't learn them very early, as Porum will beat her on that front. But get her into the 30s and early 40s, she's got Cure 3 and Cure 4, while Porum not only doesn't have Cure 4 until level 48, she also doesn't have a lot of HP until, well, past level 50-something.
But she's a white mage, and if this is your only white mage in the seed, it is better than taking a Tella to Zeromus.
I will fight you on that, because I will happily take a Tella to Zeromus if I have 2 black mages with nuke. And Tella can go and get you to that nuke if you have a Darkness Crystal. Thanks to the D-Machine grind, Tella, his big advantage is that after doing ordeals, he will learn a very, very large selection of spells, only missing out on some of the biggest damaging spells like Quake, Holy, and Nuke. But he'll also learn Weak, which is very useful for going and just getting D-Machines who will do a non-physical damage HP percentage-based attack. And that is a very safe, reliable grind you can do with Tella. That is a very quick grind.
Turtle!
Yep, it's time for more turtle soup. Looks like PK is not going to go and try and heat this one up. Is just going to go and bring out the hammers, bring out the dancing daggers, and do damage that way.
This is a boss you like to see in a spot like this versus the moon or the hook route. Although they don't have to worry about well, yes, they do. Never mind.
Yes, Kanazo is an interesting boss in the fact that his big scary attack, that wave we saw, is based off of Kanazo's current HP. It deals roughly 4% Kanazo's current HP as damage. And in spots where Kanazo has extraordinary amounts of health, that is an extraordinary amount of damage, even at 4%. And McBain is encountering the same All Gauntlet that PK has gone through. PK seem to be slightly more invested in trying to keep their Edward alive, but neither of them seem to be terribly hard pressed to do so.
Yep, if they don't find a Cecil, or they don't take a Cecil, that Edward makes a perfectly good anchor.
Yes, because one of the flags we turned on is in the vanilla game, the ATB calculation is based off of Cecil's agility. And Free Enterprise normally is based off of the middle slot characters, but because Cecil's such a powerful character and gets access to some completely and utterly stupidly powerful weapons, we decided to give him a little bit of a handicap in the form of, if he joins your party, he is going to be your agility anchor no matter what.
I still think that a Crystal Sword Cecil completely trumps any agility shenanigans.
I have a hard time disagreeing. Also, I believe you have someone demanding your attention.
Oh, she's fine. She's just wanting to shove her face into my face.
But PK having a little bit of trouble with this Kanazo. One of the things that happens is when Kanazo is at or below 25% of their HP, they start hiding in their shell, and then casting Remedy for 10% of their HP, and if you don't have enough damage, you can get stuck in a cycle. Edford gets summoned back up to go and use his Dancing Dagger to finish off this fight.
And we'll see if he is rewarded with taking down that turtle. Not really.
That's some rather stringy turtle soup there. Or maybe the King of Fabul was just stringing us along with a reward. But That's a ribbon. Nice headpiece. Protects from instant death. Useful for in certain situations. Not a key item and not what our runners are looking for, but that is the Luca key for PK, which there's some stuff you can do with the Luca key. Meanwhile, McBain getting through that alt gauntlet has earned the Twin Heart.
And we'll see if he wants to give that a shot or if he puts that off.
That is, at the very least, I can see McBain putting that off until he has a better weapon for his Sid and done ordeals to get lots of spells for Tella. The Cave Magnus, where the Twin Harp is used, the boss has extremely high magic defense, but Berserk is a great spell for going in using your melee fighters because that will go and take them up to they'll give them a 50% bonus to their attack damage and make them attack every single time their turn comes up in queue, which is very helpful in Final Fantasy IV.
But PK heading up Mount Ordeals shows us our first bit of damage with that Palom.
Not taking Palom right away, though. Saying no ordeals to that.
Definitely understandable. You may want to see if there's something a little bit better up here.
Could be that, so we do have a flag turned on where when we have a full party and you have characters who are 5 or more levels behind the median, they will get double experience. That can be very helpful when you're trying to go and get your black mages up to their nuke casting levels. That literally cuts the number of D machines you need to do in half. And we find Rubicant up here. This is not a high magic attack spot and not a high physical attack spot, but Rubicant can still be pretty mean because that glare still has some pretty high multipliers, and any physical attack we do will be countered with a fire 2 to the whole party.
But was it leg? Let me show you how.
I think Rubicant does not like us asking that question. He didn't like Edward going and trying to cut in on that dance. Meanwhile, McBain has finished off the Kanizo at Kabul, getting their ribbon. Will probably be going and turning in their Sheila 1 check to go and get that Luca key. And then we'll be curious to see where McBain goes. They may be very encouraged to go up this ordeals that PK is trying to plow through right now.
And with that Ice 1 from Tella, does take down Ruby.
Gotta love 4 times elemental weaknesses because, yeah, it's not very often you see an Ice 1 doing 500 damage.
Especially not coming from a Tella.
I agree on that front as well. Ooh, Dark Knight Cecil here. Don't attack him and you'll be fine, but this might go and take a little bit of time.
It just tickles a little bit.
Sid definitely went and understand why Dark Knight Cecil would be going and coming up here to become a paladin, because yeah, that was not an impressive display. We found our Justice. McBain is finding Palom. Does he take the good twin? He does. McBain now has a full party. He has Palom, he has Porum, he has Sid, he has Iridia, he has Edward, and he has Tella. McBain will no longer be able to change their party because we have the permajoin flag on. Any character who joins is here to stay.
And that does mean McBain will have to fight that Yang and whittle down all that damage.
And I didn't see which spot that Yang was in, but if he's in the king spot, that's going to be some painful punches.
It is actually the queen spot, thankfully.
Well, that glass that PK picked up is probably going to help out a bit. And Dark Imps this is another spot you don't want to see a free boss in, because it's already a pretty easy fight, and you'd rather fight those Dark Imps someplace where they would actually be painful.
But we see McBain showing us one advantage to having both of those twins, doing a little bit of twin magic there.
Yep, that twin magic is it's a pretty unique skill set, all things considered. You can go and bypass a number of counters, though the Dwarf Axe on Sid is doing some extra damage, but is also getting those Fire 2 counters I was talking about earlier. So right now, PK has done a number of overworld checks and has found 0 key items in any of them.
Yeah, there is not a lot of key items here on the Earth. So we'll see where our runners decide to go next, if they want to start try their hand at some of those underground bosses.
That's we still have Baron in. PK still has to go and do the Antlion Cave, because they did reset out of that, but they do have all the spells on Tello, which will probably make this even faster right now. And McBain is discovering that that Dark Knight Cecil is there, and that Dark Knight Cecil is not doing an extraordinary amount of damage.
And looks like looks like does want to get experience on all of his characters.
It's not unreasonable, though. There is some argument for saying leave a couple characters down so that they can go and you can slingshot them later. If the character isn't going to be doing a lot early on, then leave them down, maybe anchor with them, and later on in the seed, when you're going and doing your big grinds, use that slingshot to that catch-up experience to your advantage, so you can do one big fight with Tella and take them up from, well, general uselessness into your premier seed carry. But PK is going and getting to the Baron Inn, putting the glass hat on Tella. I like that play because Tella now has a lot of things he can do, but he is going to he's still going to go and have only a small amount of HP compared to Sid, and having some strong attack or strong defense will help keep that Tella alive. And PK is picking up a poison axe for Sid. That is a pretty low accuracy weapon, but it's noticeably better than that wooden hammer.
Yep, you can get kind of a wide range of attack damage with that poison axe. You could get 200s, you could get 1500s.
Yes, and PK is going and putting Sid in the middle slot. One of the advantages of the middle slot, aside from being what determines what the so-called anchor slot, is also that it can it gives your characters a 20% accuracy or 25% accuracy boost. So it is pretty helpful for going and fixing that low accuracy of some of Sid's weapons.
But we see the CPU here in the first spot in Baron Inn. Definitely a nice spot to see CPU. You don't have to worry about trying to manage the back row and the orbs and the Globe 199s.
Yeah, this spot doesn't have a lot of HP, and HP is probably the biggest thing that makes CPU annoying, because CPU is very based on their HP. They have a defender node that will heal the CPU for 10% of their HP. They have an attacker node that will go and attack your party for each 10% of their max HP. And then that back node just is in the back row and has a lot of health.
And now we see a Dr. Dialogue here, but takes out both forms, very nicely done.
Tella using a virus to go and do some good damage to the not-so-good doctor.
And doesn't even manage to get the gas off.
The spot has notoriously low magic power, and the spot has a decent amount of HP, but if you split it 4 ways, it's a lot less impressive. We have not seen Iridia to my knowledge, because if we have, I believe we would be summoning some dragon gods. But this is the third check overworld PK has done and received no key items for. But the one check he's fated, that Antlion, has the Twin Harp, which could go and have something important.
We'll see if he... Looks like he is... Might just be checking the item shop. We'll see if he wanted to try and dive Baron.
Very true, because got that Baron key from the Feymarch chest. That is an option. We can go into Baron Castle through the Baron sewers. Also, I just noticed that PK had 4 change routes?
He's all about change.
Looks like PK is not interested in changing locations at the moment and is going to go into that Baron that you suggested, Ellie.
And we know a vanilla Baigen is waiting in the first spot.
A not so vanilla Sid in the party might go and make it a little bit easier than in the vanilla game. But otherwise, the dancing dagger can also get through the wall that Baigen will put up, but not a lot else going on for this party. PK is being very conservative with additions to their team at the moment. They might be holding out for a strong character. They might be going and just deciding that they want to run with this as long as they can, and that the twins aren't really going to be that much help at the moment. Curious as to what is going and pushing their decision with this party at the moment. I say after doing a hook run with this very party myself recently.
And McBain getting a fun little kill on Luge there. Gets the HP ran out.
That is a not very common, because that sap from virus only lasts for a very short amount of time, probably only about 60 HP, so annoying because it's a text box, fun because it means we're so close, so here we're just going to go and give it to you at this point.
And Nova Asterix in chat had asked, can we do guards now that we have stone? Yes?
Kind of.
Yeah.
So the guards in that spot are probably going to punch really, really hard, regardless of which guard they are. And the stone spell is a bit of a has a bit of a wind up. So you would need to be able to survive some punches before you had telecast that spell. However, if we were able to get a different spell off, like if we were able to, say, get a size off, then those guards would be turned into Lilliputians, not able to do much damage, and then you could go and cast stone on them. Or you could just beat them up.
But we see McBain being the people's champion and heading down into Cave Magnus. And why is that so special, Baka?
Well, this is a randomizer, so we can't just let Edward play the same song every time. No, we need to go and force Edward to expand his repertoire and play new, exciting, different songs every time we run a seed. We have a pool of songs that are gone and used to make this check a bit more exciting, because it's a bit out of the way. It kind of stinks for how long you have to spend here, so if you're going to spend this long coming here, I want to give you a great tune to go and listen to.
And a huge thanks to both Boardface and Calm Lamity for putting all these wonderful songs in for us.
Yes, Calm Lamity is the current dedicated developer who goes and works on creating new songs, while Board had done that at the for some time before Comlandi came on to be direct about it. But we are seeing that pk4787 has found where Dark Elf is hiding today. Dark Elf is trying to go and take over Baron and sit on the throne. And McBain is going and getting a rather rude lesson from his body double. I think the body double should take over the main body, to be honest.
But we are going to be quiet and let you listen to the music.
And for any of you NES fans who enjoyed walking through long walks through plains, forests, mountains, and swamps, we have the Dragon Quest I overworld theme. And we have Valvalis, which is definitely not who you want to see here.
Yeah, this is not a good spot for Valvalis.
Especially with this party. This party is mage heavy, and one, this spot already has extremely high magic resistance. Secondly, when Valvalis is spinning, she is pretty hard to hit with physical attacks, and only Sid is going to be able to have a shot of doing any damage.
According to the reference sheet, you cannot hit with magic, but the punch column says that the defense is 0.
Oh, well, that is a very, very good thing for McBain. Valvalis can sometimes go and be dodge the first 5 attack multipliers you have, so that could be very bad. But Sid is doing damage with their Dwarf Axe, but pk4787 finds the tower key behind the Baron throne. That is one item required for Go mode. PK is in a great spot right now.
And I suspect that PK is going to pick up some extra characters and head on down and check that tower room.
I would not be surprised as well. Hey, yes, Palom, please join the team. So our runners' teams are pretty much the same, except McBain has a Porum, and PK has an empty slot that may be filled with a character with much greater potential. Well, yes, I am harsh on Porum. Why do you ask?
You leave Porum alone.
I mean, I usually do. I usually just leave her alone where she's standing.
Hashtag Team Porum.
Hashtag Team Victory.
But we see PK immediately heading to the tower. We'll see if he's just going to do the tower room or is going to give a shot at the top of the tower as well.
Yeah, that is going to be a real big question because you don't need, hypothetically, if this top of tower check has no required key items to do the top of tower and it has about 18,000 HP. But it could have a key item. It is one of the vanilla spots. It is actually the vanilla spot to find the tower key, so not the worst place to go and try and do at the same time. PK is taking a save, so we'll see if we take a fight here. Not healing up, so their Tella is still a pig and unable to cast spells. And meanwhile, McBain is going to continue to slog this fight. Valvalis is being Valvalis and has a lot of HP and is not going to be very kind to McBain right now.
And we see a lunar sparkle on PK's side. I hope it's a wyvern.
Oh, Why would you be so mean? I mean, okay, let's be honest. Let's be mean to our runners. Is what they deserve. They're running these seasons. Ooh, Ogopogo.
That's pretty bad too.
You know, I have a hard time saying which one's worse, but I'm leaning towards Ogopogo, to be honest, because Ogopogo doesn't like magic at all.
Well, and at the top of tower, Wyvern's Mega Nuke has a really good chance to miss.
Yeah, this spot does not have a lot of magic power, but that can work against you sometimes, because sometimes you want to just kill Wyvern with that Mega Nuke. But speaking of getting through spots, McBain is through the Twin Harp and is going to be rewarded with the package. That is not what you want to see when you fight through both the Alt Gauntlet and a Rude Valvalis fight.
Maybe there's a demist behind that?
Well, McBain is resetting and resetting further back, so if there's a demist behind it, this is going to be the last place McBain ever looks. So speaking of demist, I don't know if either of our runners have gone and checked the vanilla demist location.
I don't think so. I know that PK checked the waterfall.
But if demist isn't there, where's your favorite location to find demist?
Top of tower, or top of Zot with the Earth Crystal.
Oh, in the Magasister spot, so you have to go walk up tower, get the Earth Crystal. Yeah, that sounds pretty rude. But McBain is deciding, alright, well, Twin Harp is awful, let's go to Baron. And we know this is going to lead them in the correct direction. While PK is being led into terrible, terrible pain as Ogopogo is pretty brutal. And we do, looking at this now, that's another Lunar Sparkle getting sent to the Rubicon spot. So we might need to find even more moon bosses. That could be Wyvern.
I hope it's Wyvern.
Whatever it is, it's not going to be your friend there.
But we'll see what PK's plan here is to take out this angry Sneck.
Yeah, this the Canadian Nope Noodle is really doing a number on PK's team. He is anchoring with Sid, who is he's the character he wants to be doing damage, who is not incredibly slow, and Ogopogo is just taking turns and doing a lot of work against this. Yeah, PK is resetting again. This is not looking like the way PK is going to be able to get through this fight. Ogopogo is just bearing down on him, and PK saying, alright, we're done. Bye. Bye.
Definitely something you want to have a few more levels to take on.
I would take another 50 levels and a few nuke casts to take out that boss. And we see the elements. This is sometimes an interesting fight, but here it's going to be a pretty quick fight because this bot does not have a lot of HP, and elements is actually two different monsters, which requires a bit of work to get through, and 800 damage. Goodbye, elements.
No bonus leg today.
Alas, they would need the element of surprise for that.
Get out.
I don't know. I felt like that was pretty. That seemed pretty in my element for me. Or are you implying that's a hot take?
Meanwhile, we see McBain working on Baigen.
Definitely going into, well, Forum is taking an unfortunate beating that fight, but Sid is Berserk and is going and throwing out damage. Definitely a lot of fights that you don't like having mages for, to be entirely honest, because Baigen puts up a wall in the main body, and you can't really go and cast spells with Palom like that way unless you have Quake, and not our runners are that close to Quake yet.
Now, if you do manage to roll it correctly and get the Stardust one that I can't remember the name of, you actually bypass that wall.
Indeed, Comet will bypass the wall. Little Flare, Mini Flare will not.
No, it won't.
And PK receives the Rat Tail, which is not going to go and lead the way to the final objective because that Rat Tail requires the hook. And if we have the hook, we're not going to be able to go, and we don't need to go and turn that in because we can just launch the Falcon. Then we could have the Adamant or the Legend Sword. And Comet is not the same spell as the Stardust Rod. It has the same animation, but they're actually two different spells.
Now, for all we know, the hook is up on the moon, and our runners will find both pieces of the Excalibur before finding that hook.
Or the hook is on the moon, and the Legend Sword or Adam is behind the Rat Tail, so they have to go and find that hook.
That's so rude. I like it.
I mean, it can't be that rude. It can't go and be Alt Gauntlet at Masamune Altar. We've already seen the Alt Gauntlet.
And PK will be kind of rewarded as long as he continues to fade Antlion.
Yeah, and at this point, PK's faded for a pretty long time. He might go and continue to put it off as he's got no good reason to go and continue going back there. And is changing their party around to go and looks like they're going and setting up to have Tella go and cast some big spell in the middle that requires some accuracy. Or just healing up their Sid. I am curious as to what their approach is going to be.
I am not sure.
PK did find a coffin in Baron Castle. If this is the officer-soldier fight, that could work out very well for them. This is the officer-soldier fight. This is something that can go, and PK might be able to just win this fight outright on the back of using the coffin on the officer, and then going and... Oh! PK might be able to get that off if Edward hadn't taken an automatic action to hide.
Edward, how rude.
Oh, okay. PK didn't go and equip... Doesn't have a... PK has the curse ring on the Sid, who is very tanked up, not the Tella. That changes things.
But if he is able to get that coffin off before the officer gives orders, those three soldiers are just kind of beat up each other.
Yes. And to answer a question from chat, so I know the curse ring is important in regarding to agility and the anchor, but I don't understand how it works. Is there a wiki that explains it? There is the Free Enterprise wiki. We do go and have that linked on our Discord, but the short version is there's a cap to how much faster anything can be than the anchor. That cap is 5 times faster. Pretty much every 1 ATB tick is 1 turn. For the anchor, it takes 5 ATB ticks to get a turn, no matter what their agility. If it's 1, it takes 5 ATB ticks. If it's 20, it takes 5 ATB ticks. If their agility is 99, it takes 5 ATB ticks. But what changes is how many ATB ticks it takes everyone else. If it's 99, well, everyone else is going to be waiting more than 5 ticks to take a turn. If it's 20, if you're faster than 20, you're going to go and take fewer ticks. If you're slower than 20, it's going to take more ticks. If it's 1, you only need to be 2.5 times faster than the anchor to max that on speed. So if you have 1 agility, anything that is 3 agility or higher is going to go and be what we call relative agility 1, or being able to take an action every tick of the ATB.
That was a lot of math.
I like math. Math is helpful.
But McBain has gotten through the Baron Throne fight. Will pick up his tower key.
we'll see if they take some swings at that Ogopogo at the top, or if they just do a what we call a Penguinator special and only go and do the tower key. Meanwhile, PK is going and making progress through those soldiers. It looks like they're trying to go and just do damage. This is trying to go and get more attacks out of them.
But McBain is heading up the tower, going to get the bad news about the very angry Nope Rope up there.
And the information that the boss at the, well, is going straight to the tower key room. We'll see if they go and make a stop up top, or if they're going to go and keep going. And PK just gets a Zeus Rage from those officers. But they also get a level 23 Palom. That's enough to get Palom a really great spell. That is enough to get Quake on Palom, which can go and probably open up Dwarf Castle for PK at this point.
Yep, and it looks like PK might be heading straight there now.
It really does seem to be dwarfing all of PK's other options. And PK is throwing me for a loop. PK is going to Antlion, it looks like. PK's decided, no, I am not going to continue fading this. Let's go and get through this.
And with Quake, going to make that gauntlet a lot easier. But unfortunately going to be sent down a rabbit hole.
Indeed, and not going to be able to Quake their way through that Twin Harp, but maybe they'll go and decide, I don't want to do that Twin Harp. I have a mage who goes and does, and that does all my damage. I don't want to take that fight.
Now, something interesting is PK does still have that open slot, so might be worth it if it's a real nice character, another Palom, Iridia to use that angry dragon god.
Iridia is definitely sounding like a reasonable ad. If we find a Crystal Sword, Cecil would probably be a very welcome addition to this team, because that's a lot of damage. It might completely and utterly destroy any hope of agility anchoring and whatnot, but a Crystal Sword is a lot of damage.
I do love a Crystal Sword, Cecil.
And, well, it looks like PK going and avoiding this place like the plague is turning out in his favor, because he is going and returning the plague in spades. Virus being cast on all of these enemies, and they are just falling over. They did not see their doctor away, and that is why Palom is not staying away.
And we see McBain has headed to Dwarf Castle. Maybe he'll be the one to give us this check.
It looks like McBain is coming in here. Does not have Quake on their Palom, I think. But we do see it's a Leviathan, so this could be pretty painful, actually. This spot has some pretty decent magic, and Leviathan does two things. He casts a big wave, and he casts Ice too. And when this spot has, with the amount of magic power this spot has, that Ice 2 is actually probably going to hurt quite a bit.
And I believe McBain used up all his Zeus Rages on earlier fights.
That is not an unreasonable thing to do, because those Zeus Rages do go and fall off pretty much after you've completed the overworld. But PK is deciding that they want to go down into Cave Magnus and give us all an encore of that lovely Dragon Quest I theme. and deal with Valvalis. Or maybe they won't deal with Valvalis. Maybe they'll say, haha, no.
I feel like if you've kind of put in the time to walk down here, you know your Sid can get through here at this spot, so it may just be worth it to take on that Valvalis, and then get the disappointment of the package.
Unless that package has Mist Dragon, who we still haven't seen, though we still haven't seen a check of the vanilla Mist Dragon location. Nor have we seen a check of Luca Cave, or the Magus Sister spot. Then, of course, there's the entire moon and all the other gated locations we could have.
PK is taking the safety save here, a wise decision.
Definitely one I agree with, because sometimes these fights are something you really don't want and would like to go and just leave.
And sometimes it's a surprise Mega Nuke to the face.
That too.
McBain has taken down that Leviathan. We'll see what the character is and who the second boss here is.
And because this is an ungated check, that could be an edge, who maybe McBain will be lamenting his choice of filling up the party so quickly. That Magus Sisters is probably not the worst boss, and I believe their Palom now has Quake. Yes, their Palom almost certainly has Quake. They're going to be able to go and take care of this boss very quickly, as long as Palom doesn't get sniped.
And only finding another Yang there from Dwarf Castle. I doubt that we'll see PK taking that Yang.
Yeah, I believe we have at least one Yang already. And, if you don't take one, I don't think you're going to take another one unless you get the Darkness Crystal. But McBain is caught up on objectives to PK, and a Darkness Crystal goes and opens up a lot of things for McBain. The hook goes and gives access to the crystal, but then we still need to find a way to Threemus in the form of either the pass or the Darkness Crystal.
But let's see what Luca is wearing as jewelry around her neck today.
Was that a hook? Oh, that was a pan.
That was a very large piece of kitchen equipment.
I'm a big fan of cast iron cookware, but maybe that's just pandering a bit to me.
But McBain immediately heading to the Sylph Cave to go ahead and whop that Yang on the head.
This is going to go and give us 2 key item checks. The first from the hitting Yang with the pan will go and have the Sylphs give us a check, because we have the Summon Monster quest on in the vanilla game. Hitting Yang with a pan is the earliest way you can go and get the Sylph summon. Afterwards, you will go and take the pan, go back to Fabul, give the pan to Sheila, and from there we'll get a second key item check.
And Valnut and chat asking why they're not opening more chests. A lot of these chests here are trapped, and our runners don't really want to deal with that.
There's also the each chest you open takes 1 to 2 seconds, and with those trap chests around, yeah, you don't want to go and have to save, reset, and come back in. Not to mention, just you can lose a lot of time opening a lot of boxes. And chat pointing out that we received a French vanilla spoon, as that is reward from giving Sheila the pan in the vanilla game. So, I wonder if Sheila's going to go and have some diminished rewards, because she's not going to be able to in the best position to dish it out to us.
I can't.
That's okay. Asuka, thank you for going and being our Restreamer tonight and allowing me to go and torment poor Allisele with this. And thank you to Groundfire for going and tracking all of these lovely key items that we keep finding and keep not being go mode.
So I believe that leaves top of tower, the Odin spot, or this Yang check.
And Sealed Cave.
Oh yeah, and Sealed Cave. Those are all terrible.
Yeah, there is a Rydia at Mist who we could take that PK was decidedly not interested in because we have a Dragon God, but that cutscene's kind of long. We have a kid with Quake who's doing a lot of damage, and the real vector we're having problems on is doing physical damage, to be entirely honest. But McBain is going down to the land to summon monsters and using the kid to cast Quake on the Warrior's chest, probably hoping to snipe some extra experience and get in a bit better position, while PK is doing Dwarf Castle. Currently, McBain, I believe, with the exception, is behind one check to PK in the form of the Ashura spot, while PK is behind McBain's clear of Dwarf Castle and turning in the Pan.
You know what makes karate a lot easier? A moon veil.
That is very true. Though it only works on the punches. The kicks will still go through. But that moon veil does go and apply the barrier status, which, while wall will reflect any direct cast spell or spell cast directly on your characters, a moon veil will not only apply wall, it will also apply barrier, which makes it so that your characters go and take no damage from any straight fight command. Other physical attacks will still get through, namely in the form of that kick. And boy howdy does the Leviathan spot have quite a kick to it.
Looks like McBain might be considering giving it a shot, though. Does remove the Earth Hammer here in the Land of Summon Monsters.
One of Sid's better weapons, in my opinion, against +3 strength is a fire elemental weapon, because Earth isn't a fleshed out element in this game, so we just make it fire, so it's something. Meanwhile, PK claws through that fight with just a Sid standing, and is going on to the Maga Sisters.
Oh, and I had forgotten, McBain has not done the guards here.
McBain's not in the worst position to go and deal with this, though. Pella is in the middle slot, is going to be queuing up a stone, but the officers is going to go and get that attack command, and we're going to see some punches come out, but they all go to Porum and Sid. Sid is more than capable to go and stop to endure those blows with that glass at, and the stone comes out, and the officers are just... they're just shock stiff.
Unfortunately not getting any XP on that Porum.
Hey, look, a Zeus Rage. You totally need that, right? You know, it's not like you just dealt with Leviathan at Dwarf Castle. That would have been really handy.
You could always give it a shot on that Ogopogo.
Yeah, you can. And then you'll discover that Ogopogo, fun fact, not actually weak to lightning at all, but does go and have a different counter to that, as opposed to all the other spells that they counter.
He gets real angry.
I mean, he just casts weak on your party, or on one character, instead of blaze on your cast blaze on the entire party. Blaze, of course, being the ice elemental fire-looking attack, because that makes a lot of sense. To answer a question from chat, where was Ogopogo? Ogopogo is at the top of Lower Babel, waiting for our runners to go back there and say hi again.
Yeah, this is not a fun fight.
Yeah, Ogopogo, I mean... Ogopogo's a rude fight, because... anytime you cast a direct magic spell on him, Ogopogo is going to go and counter with Blaze, which does 25% maximum HP ice damage to all of your characters. It's also going to do Big Wave, which is going to open with a double Big Wave, each one doing 25% max HP non-aspected damage. So you're just going to go and probably be taking 50% of your health off at the start of the fight, punches pretty hard, and then alternates between 1 and 2 Big Waves throughout the fight. And McBain is going and discovering that, yes, the Leviathan Spot Young really, really likes going and hitting people as hard as possible.
Decides, I don't really want to do that fight, and heads into the Luca Cave.
That's new ground for us. We'll see what the key item here is and who the boss is. The boss in this location is going to be one of the fastest and one of the highest magic power bosses in the game, so we could get something very rude here if McBain is not anchored strongly.
Well, we've already seen the turtle. We've already seen Valvalis.
Have we seen the Laughing Man?
We have not seen Golbez yet.
Nor have we seen Wyvern, if I'm not mistaken. And we haven't accounted for all of our moon bosses, so we know that it's not necessarily Wyvern at the Rubicant spot.
And for all we know, this may not even be a key item.
You're correct. There are 17 key items to find, and 28 locations to find them in. This means is, well, not everything's going to get a key item. Some of them are just going to get random pieces of items. They can be some very high tier items, or they could just simply be some garbage like a ninja hat or a moon bell. Or a white lamp. Ooh. So there is one thing here that can go and bite McBain, and that is not checking the boss, because we have not seen Demist.
And we'll see. Doesn't look like he's going to go back and take a quick peek.
Meanwhile, PK is going to go and discover that white spear on the altar, but maybe PK will check the boss. While McBain is going to the overworld, they may be going to Baron Castle and might be checking that Odin fight. Answer a question from chat. Yes, Mist Dragon is still on the table. We have not found the Mist Dragon. Have we had anyone check the Vanilla Mist Cave?
No.
Boy howdy, I wish our runners would do that. I keep asking that question. I want to know. I imagine both of our runners will feel very, very silly if they discover a Mist Dragon in the vanilla location that has been there the entire game. Ooh, a heroin robe for McBain could be a very helpful piece of equipment. Porum.
You could have a murder Porum.
You could have a murder Porum. You could have a 500 hit point murder Porum, which that heroin robe gives plus 15 to all offensive stats, or for all offensive physical stats. Plus 15 strength, plus 15 agility, gives plus 15 vitality, and then it gives minus 15 wisdom and minus 15 willpower. So you're not going to be casting spells very well with that on, but you're going to be able to hit real good.
And PK getting the news that it is only a... Ooh, sparkle.
Ooh, shiny. Hey, hi, Wyvern!
It's a Wyvern!
And to answer a question from chat, why is Mist Dragon important? Mist Dragon is important because when you defeat Mist Dragon, Rydia's mother will spawn in Mist Village, and talking to Rydia's mother will get you a key item. And this Wyvern is going to be real fun because this is a high magic attack power spot. You're going to be having a lot of fun. And PK is finally checking the Vanilla Mist Cave, and is not finding the Vanilla Demist. It is finding time to stay at the end to go and get rested up and probably take on that fight at... Oh my. For McBain is now going back into the sealed cave and is probably going to be checking the boss that they ignored. They might not be checking the boss, actually. They might be going in doing a door grind to get some experience.
That would be spicy.
That is exactly what they're doing. Turning on encounters will go and let you fight these trapdoors. That might be why McBain is more than happy to go and run out of this place. They like casting Disrupt, which kills whoever goes and is hit by it instantly. That ribbon will protect you. And you can also reflect it back onto the trapdoor, and it will instantly kill the trapdoor.
But again, does not have that palum or that porum up. Need to get some levels on that little girl.
Doesn't have the heroin robe either. With that, I believe McBain, after getting roasted by the wyvern, was sent back before they actually had that equipment, which could be unfortunate, as that heroin robe is a very strong piece of equipment. Also, there's that blaze spell that I was talking about, and hey look, Porum went and got sent to her unfortunate early doom, as blaze is a mean spell. Wolf Guko pointing out that Riddy would be pretty nice for this wyvern. You were not incorrect. That Riddy would go and probably make this wyvern pretty manageable, for the specific reason that wyvern will counter any direct cast summon spell with Mega Nuke. And it doesn't matter which summon it is. It could be Imp, it could be Bahamut. Wyvern's going to go and cast Mega Nuke on the entire party, which if you still have your walls up, will still get reflected, and will still do quad 9 damage.
Unfortunately here, kind of having a hard time getting his party back up after the Mega Nuke.
Yeah, Wyvern is just rolling out the nukes and trying to cast Quake with Palom. I understand it's necessary, but you need to go and have your characters up to win this battle of attrition. And is dropping their battle speed all the way down to 6. That is definitely not a bad idea, because you need to go and be in a position to just get all of your characters, as many characters up with Star Bells as early as possible, because you want those characters to survive the initial Mega Nuke and then be around to be targets for nukes. Meanwhile, McBain is going and taking some experience from these trapdoors, and is just doing whatever they can to get themselves closer and closer to being in a more firm location. Unfortunately, McBain is not at 10 key items. At 10 key items, he would be receiving double experience, but is not going to be getting that quite yet. PK gets off all those Star Bells and is in a better situation, throwing up a life potion to get Tele back up, throwing up Quake on Palom. Still has not picked up a 5th party member, still just decided either they don't like their options, or no matter what they go and find, they are going to still feel that they're not going to be contributing much, so no point adding them to the party.
Yep, completely understandable. May also be hoping for somebody a little better from the moon.
That's true. McBain picked Porum, which I haven't said my opinion on Porum, and BK might have a similar opinion of Porum and all the other characters available. There's also, if you go and get the Darkness Crystal, maybe you're able to go and get a character who is just any base level character, and do that big D-Machine grind to slingshot them to higher power.
And I believe that Wyvern knows who the real threat is and takes out that Tella, getting ready to cast a Fire 3.
Well, the Palom's throwing out Quake, so Palom is going and doing the lion's share of this team's damage at the moment. The spot has, I believe, about 18,000 HP, and Wyvern took off 10,000 on their own. Palom's doing about 15 to 1700 for Quake, I'm seeing. As long as he keeps getting those off and has enough MP to do another 8,000 damage, PK will get through this fight. I think PK is appreciative of how very tunnel vision Wyvern is on the one person who did not have wall up. And meanwhile, McBain has finished their grind and is going back into Feymarch. Looks like he's going to go back to fight that karate.
Yep, and I feel like he's got enough health to kind of withstand, and we'll hope to take down that that very, very punchy monk.
I didn't pay close attention to the levels on the McBain side, but I wouldn't be surprised if McBain's Porum now has Cure 3. But PK has gotten through Wyvern. And gets the hook! The hook is required. Okay, maybe not required. We could still go and have Darkness into Parts of Legend and Adamant on the Moon, but PK now has access to their crystal. And, unless I'm miscounting, PK is also at 10 key items now.
Now that means that Darkness Crystal has to either be behind this karate or at the top of tower behind that Ogopogo.
Or at the Rat Tail.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I believe a lot of us have, because that Rat Tail's been sitting on the table very long, doing absolutely nothing. But now we get to go and see what is the Rat Tail going to give us today. And Bayo pointed out, we still have Demas out. Demas could still be hiding at the King Queen Evelyn spot on the hook path because we will have no visibility of who that boss is. Kenazo is not alive. Kenazo was attempting to assault Fubu today and was turned into turtle soup. Oh, Wyvern is hard required. We are Legend Sword or completing the hook route away from being in go mode or having our crystal. Right now, PK's got a great question to ask. Where do I go? You don't have a way to Zerom, as the Darkness Crystal is required to either be at the top of tower, behind a Demas hiding somewhere on Earth, in very few locations, or behind Karate.
I think PK may be betting on maybe there's a Demas down here that has my Darkness Crystal.
PK might also just be betting on I kind of have to do this anyways. I know that PK knows this boss is not Ogopogo or Wyvern because he's already dealt with both of those. So it could be Plague, it could be D-Lunars, or it could be Haildim. And
I'm sad it's not Wyvern. What about Wyvern?
You had to deal with Wyvern to get here. I mean, what more could you want?
Second Wyvern.
Okay, fine. Ask Boardface. Maybe Boardface will give you second Wyvern.
Speaking of things you don't really want to see more of, would you like another Yang?
You know, I believe McBain has seen enough Yang for the seed already, and he's only seeing Yang in one location right now. Yang's seeing a lot of McBain's party, but that's not who you want to see. Yang is not going to go and add significant amounts of anything to this team, unfortunately.
And Kobahi asking if PK is still on Battle Speed 6. I did not see him change it back.
I believe you're correct. I hope PK saves before going into the King Queen Evelyn's fight and realizes that he is still an extremely slow battle speed, or else he is going to start bleeding time.
I've definitely never accidentally done an entire seed on battle speed 6.
I'm not notorious for going in for game to go down to battle speed 3 and then never come off it for another hour or so and wonder why I was bleeding time.
Well, and then during every fight, I have to turn my battle speed back up.
But PK is going in to save here. Is popping a tent, going and healing up. Yes, PK did check the rat tail. The rat tail gave a vanilla adamant. So the wyvern at Odin's throne blocking the hook is 100% required in order to complete the seed. You may not need to take the hook path if you can find a legend sword, but we're running out of places for that to be, as we need one of these locations to have... Goodness.
What about all the moon bosses?
A plague on your house for that.
But McBain seems to have this karate fight much better under control. Oops.
Well, Kick still hurt, and Forum still has, well, I've made an opinion on it for him. She really doesn't go and stand up to much. I would say a stiff breathe knocks her down, but that kick is a bit more than that, it seems.
She's just a small child. She's doing her best.
Would you like the honest answer to that, or would you like the semi-polite answer to that?
I'll get Demi to help back me up.
All I'm going to say is we need to go and get through this Karate Master, and we need everyone's best and maybe a bit more right now.
But it looks like that Silkweb has done some really good work here.
Is going and helping out Sid, just keep pushing out a bit more damage, doing some good work with that Dwarf Axe, being entirely honest. PK, meanwhile, is deciding to go back to the save point because regardless of whether or not it's Haldim or the Lunars... Oh, just noticed, yes, I am at a very low battle speed. Let's go and turn that up a bit. And yeah, it's going to go and be ready for this. So we'll see which of the 2 remaining moon bosses is here.
Oh no!
Oh dear. Can Palom go? And that kick did a lot of damage to Palom. I don't know how much the punch is going to do.
So he used his moon veil on that Palom.
Ah, that is a good thing to do. That will keep the Palom alive. But now we need to go and get enough time for... Either Palom needs to go and do this on his own with those healing potions, or Palom is going and throwing out a Quake only down to 43 MP.
And that's enough.
Nice work, McBain. What is your prize? The Darkness Crystal! McBain has access to the moon. This could be great, or this could be awful.
Yeah, that's a good way to get baited.
We know that the only thing you could find on the moon of any value is the Legend Sword, and you have to go through Wyvern at Baron Throne. I expect McBain is going to be going and doing a grind to get up to some very high levels to go and just start laughing at all these bosses that have been beating him up so far. but we might not go and say hi to Wyvern again.
Yeah, maybe hoping that the Earth was weird enough and that everything he needs is up there.
And we know that Wyvern is blocking Objective 1 by the form of the Adamant Rock, and Objective 4 by the form of the Hook.
And Nick's in chat asking why the legend has value. So we have a choice of either combining the legend sword and the adamant, which we have not seen the legend sword yet, or doing that fourth objective.
Yeah, and PK is working on that fourth objective right now with the hook that they found from the Wyvern at the Baron Throne. And with that hook from the Wyvern at the Baron Throne, you were able to pick up the hovercraft and move it to the Adamant Grotto, in which we receive an Adamant Rock, which is required to forge the Legend Sword with the Adamant. And with how these are set up, we only need to do 3 of the 4 objectives. So that will go, and just how this is working out. You are absolutely required to go and defeat that Wyvern, because you have to be able to get through 1 of 2. But PK has finished off the D-Lunars and is going to be launching the Falcon shortly. We also know that PK is not going to need to defeat that Ogopogo unless that Ogopogo has the pass, which would be a faster way to Zeromus, but would not open up the grind options that McBain is going to be able to go and exercise. And PK going and peeking the boss on the top of Lower Babel that he's already faced, and went and said, yeah, I don't want to go and deal with you right now.
Now, if you're PK, which do you dislike more? That Ogopogo or that Karate?
PK doesn't have the Moon Veil either, so, and PK doesn't have a dedicated white mage who can do AoE healing. This, yeah, this is kind of garbage. This is kind of garbage for PK. But PK does have a crystal. PK does have 10 key items at this point. PK has to get through some unpleasant fights, though.
Yeah, I think PK needs that white mage.
PK is choosing to go up this tower, I think. Going and swapping Tella over to white mage boosting gear, so looking to be in a bit better position, taking a bandana, putting it on Sid, taking off the class hat, and is going into Lower Babel and choosing to fight the Ogopogo.
And Asuka in chat asking if McBain reset his RNG manipulation. I don't believe he did, but there is the, what I like to call the YOLO strat, which there is an encounter that you can get the D-Lunars in the first encounter. And some people prefer that to trying to do it down on Earth.
Yes, there's so there's a manipulation chart where you go and take encounters around Baron to try and go and find where you are on the encounter seed and position yourself correctly so the next fight you take will go and be the D-Machine fight. There's also the vanilla chart where if you just simply save at this point and go from a known location, you will be able to go and see where you are on fights based on just how far you are in the encounter table in the Giant. It's not preferred because we have the E can't run flag on, which means if you want to go and find the grind fight, you can't run away from any intermediate fights, you have to clear them all.
And PK heading up to take on that very angry Sneck.
And it looks like on their second attempt, McBain has found the D-Machine fight. Yeah, PK is looking for some revenge against the Nope Noodle here.
Ogopogo also doesn't like Quake, does he?
Ogopogo doesn't like any spell. Any spell you cast directly on him, he's going to counter with Blaze. Ogopogo is kind of a jerk. He's really mean. And there goes Palom.
Yeah, Ogopogo is just like done with everyone's nonsense.
Ogopogo is guarding the Masamune in the middle of the game, and the last altar that you would fight before you go to Threemus. He is definitely there to go and say, "Leave me alone. I'm literally in a lunar prison. Why are you bothering me here? Go away."
Is that what you call living in Canada?
I mean, some people don't like the winter. Some people will stay away from that harsh cold. Other people aren't that smart. And PK is just resetting out of that. Is not liking how this is going. But McBain is going and doing their grind, and McBain is definitely in the process of getting powered up, while PK is on the 50-50 between a Darkness Crystal and another key item check. He went and hit the wrong one. He is going to the check that is not going to give Darkness. It could still give Pass, and that would be pretty helpful for PK.
Yep, we see those big waves coming out.
The big wave is Sid's massive pool of HP is usually a pretty helpful boon, but in this case, with no real great way of healing him up outside of those tier 2 potions, Sid's HP is a liability.
Well, and Ogopogo does alternate between doing half your health and a quarter of your health, so you keep having to cure him up or heal him up.
Yeah, that's Ogopogo's script is to open with double big wave, punch 3 times, do a single big wave, punch 2 times, do a double big wave again, and back to punching 3 times. Round and round we go. When it stops, it's when one of you are dead, and it's usually you. I may or may not have bad memories from my first Hookseed, which was in fact an Ogopogo fight.
Yeah, a Hookseed Ogopogo with a crummy team is the worst.
A Hookseed Ogopogo when you don't know what you're doing is also just very mean. I learned a lot of things from that fight, and most of them were I hate Ogopogo. Meanwhile, McBain is going and continuing through their search and grind. I think at this point, are they at 10 key items? If I'm not mistaken, they reset out of their package, didn't they?
I think you might be right.
So they would be at 9 key items, which would be a very unfortunate place to be.
But looks like trying to get kind of his team at a better health pool before summoning another D-Machine.
Oh, it's a good thing to do, because summoning a D-Machine when you're not at good HP is a really bad thing to do. If Tella goes down in this fight, you can have things go sideways very quickly. as these steam machines have 8 or 9,000 HP, and every single time you punch them, they punch back.
Yeah, our runners make it look very, very easy, but D-machine grinds are hard.
D-machine grinds only look easy after you've done enough of them and discovered all the ways you can make mistakes.
My favorite is when you forget to turn your encounters off.
Forget to turn your encounters off, forget to go put tail in the metal slot, miss of the week, mistime your attacks. There's a lot of ways you can have a fight go off the rails, but PK showing off that not having his Ogopogo fight go off the rails is going and getting rewarded with some good spells on Palom and is getting a pass. PK's in go mode. Both ways to Zeromus are on the earth, and all of the crystal is on the earth. With the exception of a legend sword to bypass a hook. PK.
To be fair, that Mist Dragon could still be up at Tower of Zod and have the legend sword.
Oh, goodness gracious, that would be evil. It would fit for Asuka, but it would be evil. But now PK has the choice of... He pretty much knows that the Darkness Crystal is at Yang, but he doesn't necessarily need a Darkness Crystal when he has the characters he has. We have something called Edward strats, where you hide your Edward from all of the Big Bangs, show him, and trick Zeromus into nuking himself, and you can kill Zeromus that way. It takes a hot minute, but it works, and there are some other HP-based strategies, but what is PK going to do is the big question. He has the crystal, he has a way to Zeromus, he does not have a functional way to grind, but he is in go mode.
He also still doesn't have a white mage.
He's selling money, he's selling stuff in order to go and afford what I believe are going to be vampires, as Zilch is asking if vampires and Kira 3s are available. I believe we're going to see someone show off your strategies. Because we might not do Eddie strats, we might do 1200 HP strats. Buying 15 vampires? That is one way to go and do this. Because in addition to having a character hide from every Big Bang, there's an alternate strategy referred to as Zilch strats or 1200 HP strats, which, well, they were pioneered by Zilch, so I refer to them as Zilch strats. Where, so the Big Bang spell that I keep talking about is an AoE unreflectable spell that will go and do somewhere between 1500 damage to 21,000 to 24,000 maximum. Unless you go and trick Zeromus into lowering their magic power, which they do every time they cast a counter nuke. Because, well, it'd be a bit unfair if Zeromus cast a nuke at full power. So instead, Zeromus lowers the power a bit so it doesn't automatically delete any character that's cast on. And the consequence of that, if you do it at the right time, well, Zeromus doesn't fix his magic power by the time he casts Big Bangs if you do it very precisely. And then that Big Bang will max out at 1200 damage. So a character with more than 1200 HP will survive that Big Bang. And if you do something else, if you at a certain point stop doing direct damage and start reflecting spells, you can go and kill Zeromus by only going through 61,000 HP.
Meanwhile, I do believe that McBain has finished his grind and is going to go ahead and warp out of the giant, which I learned was a thing yesterday.
Warp is useful in places that you never use in vanilla because you never walk backwards to the giant, you always walk forward. You can also use warp to get out of the Tower of Zot. And PK, meanwhile, is going around and checking shops, looking to buy some more Starvels, I believe. And is finding them. And is finding that, yeah, they've got some money, and going to be selling off a fair bit. Might just simply be cleaning up their inventory, because they don't need much else anymore.
Sell everything that's not nailed down.
Though I believe they really wanted to pick up some Cure 3s already. If they haven't done so, that might be a slight oversight. Unless there's just somebody going to go and do Edward strats rather than anything else, which is plausible because you would need to take that Young and grind him up, and PK is going straight to Toria. I'm guessing they're going to go and do Edward strats. And to answer a question from chat, is the egg grind a thing at this stage? Also, it is not, because Sirens will not be available in any shop except for Colesmith. And PK does not have access to the Colesmith shop.
But I think at this time we have a bit of a question that we like to ask in the community about a certain butt.
Indeed, we do have Zeromus isn't randomized or moved around. He's just simply here at his normal location forever, because we don't like going and letting him out of the lunar prison. We like to keep him there so that he doesn't go and just completely kill any dramatic tension this seed, because he is the final boss for a reason. He's mean, he's powerful, he's kind of complicated as well. He's also kind of ugly. So we'd like to give him a bit of a makeover. Allie, would you like to do the honors?
I would love to. So our question is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
And we have so many butts to choose from, as both Sportface and Scalakitty working together have provided us 450 different butts to kick at least. No one knows the exact number, no one knows all the sprites, but we all know there's going to be some great ones.
Meanwhile, exciting bit of news. We see that McBain has gone and checked that wyvern before heading down.
This is great news for McBain, because he will be able to go and get through that hook. And he's going to get the hook. He's going to go and be in a position to... He's not going to be going down rabbit holes. While PK is starting the Zeromus fight, these strategies take time. McBain might be able to go and blow past PK by just simply burning through everything, getting through the hook route, getting the crystal, and walking up through Zeromus. And speaking of Zeromus, we see Zeromus is being played by Hades tonight. If you are a fan of the Disney Hercules movie, well, we have the best character from it.
That's debatable. I don't know, I think Phil's pretty good too.
I have a thing for people with burning passion.
But Hades, bringer of chaos and anger.
Ooh, and PK takes a reset as he discovers he does not have something important, I'm guessing.
Probably those Cure 3s you were talking about.
I would not be surprised. And PK also spent all of their money on Starvale, so this is going to be something.
And Zilch is actually letting us know that it is silk webs.
Ah, yes, silk webs are super important. PK could technically get around... Oh, dear. PK could have gotten around that with a Porum as well. You can get around it with Tella, but it is going to be very difficult to do that. Going and taking off Edward's weapon to have something to sell. Meanwhile, McBain is going into Eblin, is finding things, is going and just doing a little bit of last-minute shopping, and will be making their way down. Meanwhile, PK finds their silk webs, picks up 2 to have a spare, and will now be going back to their Zeromus fight. While McBain is going down the hook path. This is going to be a fair bit of a tight race. PK might be able to go and keep some time on his side with hybrid 1200 HP and Eddie strats, McBain is going to blow up every single boss in his path with Duke and White. And that is going to be how McBain also beats Threemus. To answer a question from chat, all of our runners are running on a 15-minute delay, so we are seeing things that they happened 15 minutes ago. So the race very likely has concluded at this point, but we have no idea who the winner is. We are going and discovering it along with you. And yes, the runners have emote only turned on. That is something that is checked by our admins. We go and we are dedicated to make sure that we have a good, fair race, because we want to make sure these are for fun, but we want to make sure that we're going and having good, clean fun.
But we'll see how quickly McBain can get through this hook route. And his Threemus fight is going to look significantly different than PK's Threemus fight.
I agree. McBain's character's levels, I believe, start with 5, while PK's levels start with 3. And McBain has 2 characters who can cast some very high-powered spells, and a Sid who can also go and do some very good damage. I am curious how McBain is going to approach Threemus, and PK, I am curious how well their fight is going to go, because they need to make sure this fight does not go off the rails.
Yep, the Zilch strats are kind of like, sort of like Eddie strats. Not quite as long.
Yes, that is something that very much so helps, because those strats can take quite some time. And we see PK just going and putting up star bells on all of his characters. What we're going to see here is just casting, either using a star bell or casting spells to get Threemus to directly casting things on Threemus directly, so he will counter with nukes. All the star bells mean that they're going to be reflected, but did not get any spells off in time. So Hades Miss is going to go and do a full-powered Big Bang, and PK takes a reset off that.
Oof. Meanwhile, McBain is inching closer with each one of these fights.
Yeah, all the time that PK is bleeding, he is giving to McBain. McBain is in the D-Lunar fight, has already gotten through Plague, is going and casting Quake, throwing out Whites, just destroying these fights, and is a much higher powered position than PK is. PK really needs to go through with delicacy and finesse, while McBain is going to probably be able to smash through these fights. His Porum does only have 1700 HP, but Porum has some pretty good levels. His White and Holy and Cure 4, and Paladin has Nuke, and Sid has 4000 HP. Probably not going to go and have too much trouble, but might lose some time here and there. But that's the D-Lunars down. McBain is through, is going to be getting their crystal in just moments, and will be able to take the Darkness Crystal and have that be their alternate way to Threemus. Which, PK is on a serious timer right now. McBain's Threemus fight is probably not going to be nearly as long as PK's. But McBain does have about a 3-minute walk through the moon, and does have to go through several cutscenes getting out of this tower and getting to Threemus.
Unfortunately, going to have to go through that pitfall.
You just can't seem to miss it, it seems. It looks like that PK is not trying to get Starvells up on all of his characters, just getting up on 2, and then going and throwing out a nuke. Gets reflected off the bottom palm, so going to go and do some damage to Threemus and get this fight started. So we have a Lit 3 on Palom, just going to go for whatever the biggest spell Palom can, and not worry too much about trying to get the fastest casting spell and maximize Palom's turn. Just wants to throw out the biggest numbers he can for the moment.
Tella was helping.
Tella did 100 damage with a virus. That first ring is doing a lot. Hades is doing a great job of going and hitting the people with Starveils, while McBain is now going down into the lunar subterrane.
For a moment I had a brain fart and I thought, oh no, is he going to do the moon too? Forgetting that he did not pick up that pass.
Correct. McBain does not have the option of going straight to Threemus. McBain has to go and walk through the moon. Hey, there's an edge. Are you sure? Do you want to go and take him and add him to your party?
Rude.
It's the ninjas on the moon. They like going out and throwing spoons. Did not get a nerf off on that Big Bang, but it looks like they're just going to revert to normal Eddie strats, it seems. Black Hole comes out, Starveil goes up on Edward, and we're probably going to go and see vampires used to trigger counter nukes. Hallam went down without being able to cast the spell by just only the barest number of like 28 HP more than he had. But what you see on the left side of the screen is what you're going to see for a while. Eddie's going to hide when Threemus shakes, show when he casts Big Bang, put a Starveil up when Black Hole comes out, use one item, and then go back. And when Virus is cast, he is going to go and take an extra vampire. Threemus has, normally, a bit over 100,000 HP, but it's kind of cheating. He only has 61,000 max HP. What happens is, after you do 45,000 damage HP, or 45,000 damage, Threemus will counterattack and refill their HP to maximum and change their script to what is called Phase 2. And Threemus will then start throwing out nukes. In Phase 1, Threemus will only go and throw out viruses every intermittently and only nuke as a counterattack. McBain is now going down to the Threemus fight, and they might be able to go and just get into this fight and beat PK faster because they're going to have more DPS. Their DPS will not be reliant on Threemus, their DPS will be reliant on their own characters. As unless I'm mistaken, PK has done somewhere around 16 to 20,000 damage to Threemus.
That sounds like math.
That's part of why I don't do these strategies. You need to go and make sure that after you do 45,000 damage, you don't do any more direct damage and just do indirect damage. But yeah, between these nukes and vampires, we're averaging somewhere around 1,700 or no, excuse me, 2,200 to 2,500 damage. So 15 vampires will go and take you to 30-ish some odd damage. 30-ish thousand, a bit more than that. Probably take you close to 40,000 maybe. And then PK is going to switch over to probably using the crystal to trigger counter nukes, which will not go and trigger any HP refill, but still trigger counter nukes because it's not doing damage.
And as Groundflyer, our tracker, points out, not a lot of good gear for that Porum.
Yeah, that Palom has some decent equipment. Porum does not, and Porum has 1700 HP while Palom has a 2000. I don't know how many Cure 3s McBain has. If McBain wants to do full Reflect strats, he's not in the worst position to do it. But he's going to need to keep both those casters alive through multiple Big Bangs if I remember how these fights go with, shall we say, non-double nuke fights.
And Hades not having any of that small child.
Direct nuke on Porum. Porum needs to go and heal herself up. Using a Cure 3 potion, going to go and probably, it's going to go and get Porum up above the HP threshold required to survive, but not quite how you want this. And that Big Bang comes out very quickly. Kella is casting a Cure 4 on the party, and this could be a very unpleasant fight because that's not going to be a great Cure 4, unfortunately. Kella does not have the best stats for that.
And in chat, he may still be on Battle Speed 1, and I don't know if he put his cursed ring on that Edward.
That would be very bad because at Battle Speed 1, you are getting a turn faster than Casses can reliably go and get avoid missing any turns. It is somewhere between 7 to 9 frames, I believe, and McBain's party has gone down. Sid is alive, but he's going to need to recover. He's going to get Porum back up. Black Hole has already come out. We're going to see a shake shortly, I think, but this is not good territory. This is scary territory. Meanwhile, PK is doing Eddie strats. They take time. PK is doing them. He's not making any mistakes. Is going and getting through. Is getting those counter nukes. While McBain is going and getting kind of torn up by Threemus right now. Both mages down. Oh, Porum barely survived, but Virus coming out, finishing off Porum, and doing a good chunk of damage to Sid as well. This is very bad territory for McBain because he has to spend turns and time and MP bringing his party back up and not getting damage in.
Yeah, I think just not having the gear on that Porum is really hurting McBain.
Yeah, there's also, I don't know if Edward is set up to have a curse string, but another downside to Edward is that he gets a lot of agility. He actually makes a pretty poor anchor, to be entirely honest. Hades is shaking again, and we're going to try and get a nerf off, throwing a Silk Web to try and go and slow down Hades. Get a counter nuke, maybe not on Porum this time. Nope. Okay. I might not like Porum, but I don't gun for her this hard. Even I feel bad about this poor Porum.
Did get the reset, but unfortunately, with that Porum taking that direct nuke, doesn't do a whole lot of good.
Yeah, that's McBain is spending a lot of time stabilizing. It might just... It hurts to say this, but it might be better just to cut your losses and reset. Maybe go and double-check your battle speed, double-check your agility setup. Just see if there's something you can do to... McBain is spending a lot of time in recovery mode and not making forward progress.
Does get a Star Veil up. Hopefully going to be able to... kind of does look like he's trying to nerf this Big Bang as well.
Gets a counter nuke off on Tella that should successfully nerf his Big Bang based on the timing. Meanwhile, PK has switched over to going using the crystal to go and trigger counter nuke, so looks like to be getting closer to the end of their fight. But McBain is unfortunately floundering at this point. McBain is always stuck in this recovery loop where big bangs go off, goes and kills his party, Shake comes out, triggers a counter nuke, and just needs to work on recovering from that. Is going and getting a nuke queued up to reflect off Sid, so that's going to be some more damage, but this is not going as speedily as McBain needs this fight to be.
And PK is trucking away on those Eddie strats.
Yep, PK is going and pushing to get through this fight. Is going and getting more counter nukes, is just slowly, very slowly and steadily taking down Threemus with the with a very interesting and unique set of strategies that you will never see in vanilla game, because Edward is not allowed to join you in the vanilla fight. Actually, this party has no characters. There are no vanilla characters on either side for this Threemus fight. I'm sorry, I just noticed that now, and I find that kind of funny.
Things looking a little bit better for McBain, but as soon as that next big bang comes out, is gonna does get that black hole and can get a Cure 4 up.
Yep, and is going and getting needs to throw an Ether one on Porum though. That's a really dangerous sign, just because if you need to Ether Porum, she's burned through a lot of MP already. Does have a Star Bell on there. Eddie is going and getting that out, so being able to use Sid's turn to throw some extra potions. Is getting damage out now, is done 40, maybe 50,000 damage to Threemus at this point. Only needs to go and do 20 to 30,000 damage more, I think.
Yeah, just a couple more nukes.
PK is going and getting more and more nukes, but the big bang's coming out. That's going to go and take down Edward. That is going to go... that is taking down all of the mages.
Oh.
This is unfortunate. And PK is getting confirmation that they are still in the phase 1. They have not gone and triggered the refill. Threemus is still throwing out viruses. McBain is recovering, but has another Shake queued up and is going to go and might be going and getting... is throwing out a direct nuke. Either this is a Hail Mary to try and finish the fight, or is just accepting that they're not going to be able to go and do the refill skip. Porum goes down again. And PK is still trekking along, is still going and getting through this. He's gone through a bit over 16 Star Bells at this point.
And getting confirmation from chat that did trigger the refill.
That is not what you want to see. On McBain's side, Threemus is not going to be throwing out wild nukes. Instead of going and doing the occasional virus that we see on PK's side, we are going to see Threemus just start casting nuke on characters. Every so often. Not constantly, but it is something that's going to be coming out. Look, if Porum's taking nukes to the face like a champ, that champion goes and takes more naps than Rocky. She's down, she's up, she's down, she's up. Does survive another big bang. Is going to go and get the heal off. Or Hallam is going to go and be at low HP though, which is not what you want to be. Queuing up a nuke. And the black hole comes out, so Palom is going to be knocking himself down. Discovering that Porum does not have life 2, because Porum learns at a much higher level than Rosa does, unfortunately. Another reason why I go and pick on Porum, because she doesn't get a lot of helpful tools. PK getting closer and closer. McBain's fight going sideways like this is really going and costing him, and there is one of those wild nukes I was talking about. Does not take down Porum. Porum survives. She is going to go and be getting healed up, getting the heal off. Tala back up, going to go and throw an ether on Porum just to keep her going. But McBain needs to go through all of Zeromus' health again.
So, I guess I've never been in this situation, but so you do still want to keep doing reflected nukes and whites?
The only counter nuke that's helpful at this point is a counter nuke that nerfs the Big Bang. Unless you can go and get it directed to a Starbell character like PK has done. PK with Eddie Strats has beaten Zeromus and come in first place with a time of 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 17 seconds. GG's to pk4787. We will see if we can get him in here for an interview. And we are joined by PK. GG's PK.
Thanks.
That was a match.
Yeah, I guess. GG's.
I'm sorry about wishing horrible things on you.
Well, I mean, you should keep making wishes if you were the one responsible for this one, because that wish came true.
Well, it didn't come true for McBain. McBain pulled the Darkness Crystal from the karate fight in Feymarch. If you didn't get the pass from that Ogopogo, did you have a plan for getting through that fight?
No, not really. I regretted for a majority of that seed not picking up that Porum when I picked up the Palom and just taking the XP on both of them from that guards fight in the Feymarch. And yeah, I mean, I think my karate strategy would have been very similar to my Ogopogo strategy, which was wipe to it a few times and then eventually get lucky.
You didn't have a good time with that Ogopogo fight, even at the end of your seed. That was very true. What were your thoughts just with the team you had for that? Your team is not one that I would go and call a first-line pick.
No. When I took that Sid, I realized I was, potentially giving up having multiple casters, and then I didn't regret that as much as the seed continued to progress. I'm just amazed that I got through it. I spent that whole time trying to set up the Z fight so Palom could cast, 2-3 bonus spells, get a spell off, survive the nerfed Big Bang, and then get 1 or 2 more spells off, and then Palom just eats the dirt first try. So that went poorly. Huge GG to McBain. That was certainly something, and they've had an amazing run so far this tournament. I'm excited to watch the rest. GG to Asuka, whose reputation I think remains intact. But I don't know what to say about that seed that can be said, in public.
Well, you are 3-1, so rather than talking about the seed, which is seemed to have taken a bit of a toll on you, how are you feeling about your current run in the tournament?
Well, I am way higher up in the win column than I was ever expecting to be at this point. After playing both of the champions of the last two tournaments, and Antidale, who is also a phenomenal runner, and now McBain, I'm not super excited to see what the rest of the seeds have in store for me at that point. But I mean, it's been a great run. I would be content if I end this 3-3. I was content just making it to this part. So I mean, moving forward, I am, hopefully going to get somewhere. It's either like an hour and 6 minute win or loss, and my heart will relax a little bit throughout these.
Yeah, you spend a lot of that seed at one key item and a path to Threemus away from go mode.
Yeah, just about. This is the second one where I feel like I've been totally outplayed, excluding the fact that I somehow managed to beat Threemus with Eddie strats. The same thing happened in my Antidale race. I got to watch the last 15 minutes, and chat was definitely right. I mean, McBain definitely was in a great position. The Z fight just took a few left turns. So, I mean, 2 wins where you're pretty sure the other person is already in Threemus and you're doing Eddie strats and just spending 17 minutes waiting to lose while trying not to flub something is the way Zima Zone has gone for me so far.
Yeah, that sounds stressful.
So you're saying you want more Eddie strats?
I am saying if I do Eddie strats next time, I would like for it to be because I want to do Eddie strats, not because I feel like I've already lost and I might as well just go right ahead and try to do Eddie strats at the end. But I don't know. Bring it on. It's been a lot of fun. I'm pretty sus on you, Allie, for calling me out on this. And I didn't see you doing the tasks that you said you were doing. So
I'm trying to eat cake over here.
Allie was on comms with me the whole time. I don't know what you were talking about.
Well, that's just sus on both of you at this point. Thanks again, Asuka, for rolling this. Big fan of Asuka and Ground Flyer on the tracking. Baka and Allie, I am looking forward to. Well, I'm not really looking forward to watching it back, but I'm going to watch it back probably at some point, and I'm hoping you at least came through with the puns that I was asking for.
They were pretty terrible.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That
I knew
feels
you'd
about
appreciate
right.
it, PK. I went out of my way just for you.
Well, much appreciated in that regard, and once more GG to McBain, and I will. I'm gonna go. As I said at the end of the last one of these, I'm gonna go take a hot shower for 25 minutes and then scream into a pillow. So,
Sounds like a plan. Before we let you go, when is your next race?
I have races tomorrow and Friday at 8 p.m.
Sounds exciting. Well then, have a great evening and enjoy that shower. You've earned it.
All right, much appreciated. Take care, y'all.
Good night.
Take care. GG.
And that was our winner, pk4787. And McBain is back into the Threemus fight. Seems like it's going a little bit more smoothly this time, but okay, maybe I was mistaken. It's still going in pretty meanly, but is making progress on it.
Did accidentally white Sid right in the face.
Yeah, it turns out not even 4,000 HP is enough to survive that. Porm can still do good damage that way. Probably would have been better if it hit the wall first, but you know. It's Porm. Baby steps. And to say this again, thank you to our restreamer Asuka424 and to our tracker Ground Flyer. Without them, we wouldn't be able to go and put on the show. And thank you again to Allisele for putting up with my absolute nonsense.
And thank you to you, Baka, and to RPG Limit Break for kind of letting us take over their channel for a couple hours. They've been just great partners with us, and we greatly appreciate them and all of you viewers coming out to watch us talk about shenanigans.
Indeed. Free Enterprise is a fantastic randomizer, and if you're looking at this and thinking, I'd like to play this, but maybe something not so mean and difficult, one, you can get people beyond Oscar to roll your seeds, so they'll actually be not terrible trials of torture. And secondly, you can play on a lot of different flags, where if these seem a bit restrictive and mean, you have a lot of options with this randomizer. You can join us on our Discord, and or you can go to ff4fe.com to go and make your own seeds.
Yep, you can make the seed as easy or as hard or as silly as you could ever think of.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of flags that are not being used for this tournament, and a lot of them can be funny. Like, if you enjoyed the jumping from Mystic Quest, you can get that in Final Fantasy IV. I'm actually not lying about that, to be entirely honest. It is something that our lovely board face has in fact brought in the push me to jump flag.
Or if you want to get your fix of old NES games and you love that 8-bit music, you could play on the vintage flag.
Very true. And to answer a question from chat, did the Big Bang just miss, or did I look away at the wrong time? It didn't miss. It's, we can go and talk about magic attack multipliers and whatnot, but the long version is that spells are made up of rolls, where the magic power determines the number of times that the computer's does a random number range of somewhere between 200 and 300 damage, I believe. And depending on the spell power determines how many times that gets rolled. At some points, Threemus' Big Bangs cap out at 2100 damage. That's a 7 roll, I believe. There's an 8 roll, where sometimes just as part of a variable in the fight, we will go and get up to a maximum roll of 2800, or excuse me, 2400 on an 8 roll. And when you nerf, the maximum is 1200. Add in that there's the magic evade stat, and depending on how much magic stats you have and how much agility you have, you get more chances to go and evade. Your equipment will determine your chance to evade, and your stats will go and contribute to your chance to evade, and then each, however much of the combined casting stats you'll have will give you different opportunities to go and evade. So you can have, say, your casters will have 2 or 3 chances to go and evade rolls of magic damage, while your melee casters will have somewhere between 0 and 1. It's something that can go and make up a lot of the reasons why Porum and Palom are consistently taking less damage than Sid on these Big Bangs, despite going and having less HP than Sid.
And things are looking a little rough for McBain.
But they're looking rougher for Hades Miss, as Threemus is down. McBain has finished the seed and is gone and finished with an official time of 2 hours, 15 minutes flat. GG's to McBain, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview. And I believe we are joined by our runner McBain now. GG's McBain.
Thank you.
So, how much are you cursing Oscar for that seed?
It was pretty rough.
It was
very weird.
I agree on that second part. You, what? Okay, so this is my bias. I don't like Porum. What drove you to take Porum so early?
I just decided that I needed to go. So I was just picking up everything I wanted. I wanted Y Mage, I took one. I was just gonna go.
So you didn't want to go and worry about, maybe holding out for better characters. Just take what's offered and go with that.
Exactly. I just decided that I was gonna put the pedal at maximum and just go.
It definitely was. It was a harsh siege for you. Your team, Palin is the only character on. I mean, Palin and Teller are the only characters on that I really like. Sid, I definitely like early game, but that Edward start. Did you ever consider that you might be be forced into Edward strats for Zeromus during this?
Nope. No, it wasn't really an option. I mean, maybe if things fell in the right place, I would have tried it, but it probably wouldn't have been a very big disaster.
Entirely fair. Eddie strats are certainly not my preferred way of dealing with Zeromus.
I don't think they're anyone's preferred way of dealing with Zeromus.
We should get Dia in here to ask her that question.
But
But,
what led you to stay on the Earth rather than chasing that darkness crystal?
I really don't know. I just felt like, because at the time I've watched a lot of PK's game. Usually they're pretty fast, so I'm thinking he's stuck somewhere on the moon or something. So I'm just gonna stay here.
Well, it's a good thing you did, because that rat tail actually turned into another half of the Excalibur.
yeah, this seed was really mean, and ironically enough, PK did not find the Darkness Crystal. He went and found the pass from Ogopogo on the top of Lower Babel.
Yeah, I just skipped that. I felt so much behind. I just decided I was gonna skip that.
I don't know, you were, you two both had very different routes through that seed and did go and get through different fights in different ways, but you were both in the Zeromus fight at the same time. Both of you were, PK went without the Darkness Crystal, didn't grind, so he went and did Eddie strats, while you did find the Darkness Crystal ground, and then were pushing through. You just had that first Zeromus fight not go your way for you.
Yeah. Just wish I had kept that package. My grind would have been much better. Would have had an item.
Yeah, that is entirely fair. That was something that was very unfortunate for you. Just small things not going your way that seed, and unfortunately ended up turning into big things. Words are hard. I'm sorry. But you are at 1 win and 2 loss, so most certainly not out of things. How are you looking forward for the rest of your group stage matches?
I'm just gonna do my best and have fun. I'm really enjoying this, so just gonna keep going. Try my best.
That sounds like a great attitude to take. When are your upcoming matches, if you're all scheduled?
I think I have one tomorrow. I don't remember the time.
Sounds good. But it does look like something to look forward to. Allie, do you have any final questions?
Nope. Just again, big GG's. That was a very rude seed, and I look forward to seeing your upcoming matches.
Thank you.
Yes, GG's on that scene. GG's on getting through that. That was some shade of hot garbage.
Yep.
Have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.
And with that concludes our race for the evening, but we're not done. We are going to be sending you all on to Free Enterprise to watch, well, more Free Enterprise. We have a match between Silverfire and Aizen Tayama going on for you, so feel free to stick around and watch that match. Though, please do not spoil the results of this match. You're more than welcome to go and say it was a great one, but let anyone who wants to be surprised how this match ends be surprised by it. Thank you all, and have a great evening.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great night.